Hello, my name is Stephen Brisky, and this is my presentation on NoSQL databases. So, NoSQL databases differ from SQL-based um, databases because the SQL is very structured, has rigid data structure, and requires normalization. However, the NoSQL does not have that rigid structure and can store different types of data as well as data in different forms. And so this allows NoSQL databases to change the data uh, structure, whereas SQL is very rigid and changes to the data requires updates of all tables. So SQL trades data consistency for transaction speed, whereas NoSQL databases can handle multiple data types as well as high traffic volumes. So NoSQL databases are normally used in um, websites, and SQL databases are normally used in stores. Um, but both have the ability to create, read, update, and delete data and new data. So why would you choose to use NoSQL? Well, these are some questions that you should ask yourself before you begin and choose a database because this will tell you why you should use a NoSQL database. So if you have multiple types of data to be stored, a NoSQL database can store them and allow easy access as well as access it all efficiently because NoSQL is not as structured as SQL databases. And if there's a possibility that any data will change whether you add information or remove information, then you would want to use a NoSQL as it's easily changed and updated. And then also you would ask yourself if there's going to be multiple queries, whether it's at a time or by multiple users, because a NoSQL database can support sharding, which allows the distribution of all data to be distributed across multiple servers, allowing for multiple accesses. And on the flip side, here's some questions that you would ask yourself if you're going to use a SQL and why a NoSQL database would not be the correct option. So there's a rigid structure to the data where the data structure is not going to be changed and it's going to be very consistent. Then you would want to use a SQL database because it does not allow for data variances and it has a checks and balance to make sure your data is consistent all the time. Another problem with NoSQL is there are fewer experts and less support for complex problems. And this can affect new and multiple developers because there is no standard and there may not be help for newer problems. However, the newer problems and help may soon be a non-factor because SQL is gaining more and more following because it has more and more options. So for my project, I chose Oracle, and I chose it because it was free. It was online. It used the JSON data structure, which is something that I wanted to learn, as well as it has Node.js support, which is the other program I decided to use for my application to store data. And so some things that I've found, some pros and cons to using a NoSQL is it is easily accessible, it's easy to make changes, and there are various support and guides out there online because it is new, and so new people are trying to share their new experiences. Unfortunately, it's unstructured It's a new query language to learn, as well as the Oracle has various options that can be added that I don't need, but are very pushed because Oracle wants to make money off those items. And so that's my presentation on NoSQL databases.